In the vast world of finance, there's a silent force that plays a crucial role in keeping the gears of the market turning smoothly: liquidity. It's like the lifeblood of the financial system, ensuring that money flows effortlessly between buyers and sellers, keeping the engine of the economy humming. However, recently, there have been whispers and concerns about this essential element, and it's time we pay attention. Let's zoom in on a particular corner of the financial landscape: the repo market. This might sound like jargon, but bear with me. The repo market is where financial institutions go to get some quick cash by temporarily parting ways with their securities. It's like a pawn shop for big players in the financial world. Now, why is this relevant? Well, because there are signs that the liquidity in this market is drying up, and that's not a good sign for the health of the financial system. Just a few months ago, in November, the overnight repo rate, a key indicator of liquidity, shot up to 5.54%. Now, you might be wondering, why is this number significant? Think of it as a warning signal. When this rate spikes, it suggests that getting cash quickly is becoming more challenging, and that's the last thing you want in a well-functioning financial system. To understand why this matters, let's take a stroll down memory lane to the Great Financial Crisis. Picture this: Lehman Brothers, one of the big players, goes under. Why? Because they faced a liquidity crunch. They couldn't get their hands on enough cash when they needed it most. Now, fast forward to today, and we're seeing similar warning signs: liquidity issues raising their ugly heads again. So, what's causing this liquidity hiccup? One culprit is something called quantitative tightening, or QT for short. In simple terms, it's the opposite of something you might have heard of: quantitative easing, QE. QE is like the financial equivalent of the Federal Reserve opening the floodgates and injecting cash into the system by buying things like U.S. Treasuries. It's a move to boost liquidity. Now, imagine QT as the Fed doing a bit of financial spring cleaning. They're reducing their balance sheet, which essentially means they're taking money out of the system. Less money floating around means less liquidity, and that's not great news for the rest of us. But that's not the only player in this liquidity drama. Enter government borrowing, with its deficits and treasury bonds. When the government spends more money than it has, running a deficit, it issues IOUs in the form of treasury bonds. Now, this might seem harmless, but here's the twist: it adds to the demand for dollars. At the same time, the Federal Reserve is tightening its grip on liquidity through QT. The result? It's like a tug of war, with the demand for dollars on one side and the reduction in liquidity on the other. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Look at the numbers: the Federal Reserve's balance sheet has been shrinking since May 2022. At the same time, the federal deficit is on the rise in 2023. Less money in the system and more IOUs flying around. It's a cocktail that could spell trouble for liquidity. Remember the market hiccups of 2018 and 2019? There was a term thrown around: the taper tantrum. It wasn't a toddler throwing a fit, it was a market downturn triggered by liquidity issues. In 2018, we saw a 20% decline in the stock market. And just a year later, in September 2019, there was a disruption in the repo market that forced the Federal Reserve to step in with QE. It's like déjà vu, but instead of learning from the past, we seem to be dancing on the edge of the same cliff again. Now, fast forward to today. The alarms are ringing again. The secured overnight financing rates, SOFR, are surging, and the repo rate remains stubbornly elevated. These are early warning signs, caution lights flashing on the dashboard of the financial system. It's not a doomsday prediction, but it's a clear indication that there are cracks appearing in the foundation. But let's not jump to conclusions. These are warnings, not the end of the world. There's still time to course correct, but the question is, will we? And then there's the talk of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Sounds fancy, right? It's like digital money issued by central banks. Some see it as a potential savior, a solution to liquidity issues. But here's the catch: caution flags are waving. There are concerns about the impact of CBDCs on freedom, privacy, and financial sovereignty. It's like trying to fix a leaky roof by setting your house on fire. Sure, you might stop the leak, but the consequences could be far worse. So, here we are, standing at the crossroads of liquidity concerns, historical echoes, and the temptation of quick fixes. The financial system is a complex beast, and it doesn't take much for it to show signs of strain. The signs are there, the warnings have been sounded, now, it's up to those steering the ship to navigate through the storm. The decisions made today will ripple through the economy, affecting us all. Let's hope that wisdom prevails, and the lessons of the past are not forgotten in the pursuit of a stable and resilient financial future. Please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with friends to support our content. The information is for general purposes. Viewers should conduct research and consult professionals for financial decisions.